Welcome to Maximum Impact with Jay Cameron. I'm here for a very special episode as I'm talking to my sister, Leslie Jones. As you know, she's been featured here on the channel many times, and always been a pleasure to have her here. And today's conversation is a little different because she recently released a video that talked about her being assaulted by a Kas Estates representative in, I guess this is Accra, in Ghana. And if you've been following her journey, and if you haven't been, I want you to make sure that you go over to her channel and check out her video content about becoming a real estate developer and investor in Ghana. But she's also been walking us through her journey as far as everything she's done with 2 pieces of real estate that she's acquired, and been very transparent, been very open and upfront about everything that she's been doing. And so she's run into this situation where what I want you to do is go watch the video. Watch the video, and the link is in the description below, and you'll be able to see exactly what she is telling you happened to her at the hands of this Kas Estates representative in Ghana. Well, with all of that said, I want to welcome my sister back to the show. Leslie, how are you doing today?
Hey, I am pressing through. I'm okay. And yourself?
I'm doing well. I know that when we talked, we have another interview that we're going to be releasing soon. We have a couple of interviews that we've done about the release, but towards the tail end of that interview, you mentioned this incident at the Kas Estates office. And I was a bit taken aback when I heard it. And as you described it to me, I was troubled, to say the least. And I, as you were walking down the details for me, I was like, wow. And again, everyone, I want you to go check out the video, and you'll be able to see everything. Her video is very well done, very detailed, and you'll be able to see all of the people involved in this in the scenario that's occurred. But Leslie, tell me a little bit about why you decided to go public with the video that you've shared on your channel. Why did you decide to do that? And then what do you hope to see come out of it?
Well, the number one reason I decided to go public is after not trying to go public, because some stuff you keep in house, but after I tried to do other what we call alternative dispute resolutions, I had my lawyer write them a letter, gave them some bullet points to follow, and they didn't even respond to the letter. And I said, there's no way me being assaulted is just going to be swept under the rug. So I said, another ADR is to use my YouTube page, use the community, and use my voice on a social level to bring awareness. Because my situation, because of my witness becoming MIA, just missing in action, and weakened my case in court. So then the head investigator, the chief investigator, my lawyer, they're like, what happened to you is wrong, but there is a hole in the system. The system is broken to where if you can't provide like a physical information from a doctor confirming that, you either raped or, blood or cut, there's really nothing they can do for you. And I said, nothing at all. So that means I have to take it to YouTube and use the only source I have to bring awareness. Because even though I cannot win in court, eventually, as the court, the opinion of the people, court of opinion, what's the word? How do you say
Court of public opinion?
Yeah, the court of public opinion. At least I can do that. I can use, the community that's already supporting me and sharing my story that way and bringing awareness that way. And I did go through all the proper channels, filing a report, contacting U.S. Embassy. So there is a paper trail, but it's just not strong enough to go to actual court. And so that's why I decided to go public and share it on YouTube.
Okay, because it's basically your word against his word, because you don't have the
Exactly.
witness to corroborate the information. And I guess that would
Exactly.
be similar in America, but I guess in some sense, because you need to have a certain amount of evidence in order to support the case. But because
Right.
the witness who saw it has now gone MIA, and I guess it sounds a lot like what happens in a lot of neighborhoods when somebody sees something, they're like, nah, I'm not going to say a word. And that leads to
Right.
a lot of, cases that are not solved. But
Hmm.
I guess by you now, and this may end up working better for you, and this is kind of bring everybody up to speed. You were at the office, and again, I want you to go watch the video to really get a clear understanding. But basically, while you were at the office taking care of some business, you were assaulted by one of the employees at
Right.
Kasi States. And so from there, you followed the proper legal channels. You went to file the police report. That had its own set of issues that you talk about in the video.
Right.
You
Hmm.
again tried to do some sort of mediation, and all of that fell through. They were non-responsive, and now
Right.
the only recourse that you had was to use your platform to be able to bring awareness about this behavior. Now, because I've seen the video, and because you were very detailed in it, I have heard from several people in Ghana
Hmm.
about how some people in certain, in particular men, will treat women. Is one example is on the university level. I've had several ladies tell me that they've had professors basically proposition them for sex in order
Wow.
to not sabotage their grades, and not just Ghana, but just different, I'm sure it probably happens all over the world.
Right.
But, I've heard about it happening in Nigeria, but also in Ghana, where they would sabotage their grades, where they might have great grades and all of that. Their grades might be fine, but if they turn them down for sex, and now instead of them getting an A, they might get a C,
Hmm.
or they might fail them in the class. But then they have no recourse because they don't have a
Wow.
voice. And so what I'm hearing, what you're doing with your channel and your platform, because so many people are following you,
Hmm.
they're and now with this video beginning to get a lot of traction, it's starting to give a voice to people who might not
Right.
otherwise had a voice because you decided to speak up.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So
Exactly. And so I opened up an opportunity for not just women, anyone to email me or to DM me, and several have and shared their stories. Some of them that have shared their stories are so afraid that they told me, please leave this confidential. But if you need to use this in any way, feel to use it, because even the harassment in the workplace, some of them say, if you say anything negative about us, we'll report you. Well, and then that's affecting their money. And if they have
mhm,
children, they got to feed their children. So even with the young ladies in university, they're thinking about their future. And if
yeah,
there's no recourse, what do you do? You're like, okay, have sex with the instructor and get my A so I can get out and have a better life for myself, or just suffer, and that's a tough situation. So um there is a hole, and there is a breach in the Ghanaian system and law system, and several Ghanaians have told me it's just the way it is. They're very lax, and if you don't have any evidence, that's just what it is. And I said there has to be another way, and bringing it to the public, or bringing a voice to the voiceless. That's my main focus now. Like the company, what they did, they know what they did, but at this point, I'm thinking about future people coming. I'm thinking about the girls at the universities. I'm thinking about the little boys and little girls that are going to grow up in this system. How can we change it now? Because if we start now, it will trickle down into generationally having a safe haven for them. And so now I see my platform as giving voice to the voiceless.
that's important because, and I'm hoping this reached the government level, and
Hmm.
I'm hoping it reaches even above the government level to the higher interests that play a part in these particular governments, to understanding that, like recently, and I just shared on my channel, Good Morning America just did a huge 2 hour, basically the whole show was dedicated to spotlighting Ghana and all of what Ghana has to offer. And I believe everybody who knows this channel knows the love that I have for the Ghanaian people. for Ghanaian culture. But I also recognize that things are nowhere near perfect. Just like they're not perfect in America, we deal with all of a lot of the same challenges that you deal with in Ghana. But when the invitation goes out, I just go back to that GMA discussion, the invitation goes out, or you have a year of return campaign, come home, come back, and so when that invitation goes out to people, one, say for example, you're coming in, and I watched your video and you talked about how you were the first person to come back after 400 years, meaning you're from the issues of the transatlantic slave trade and being a descendant of that. You were the first person to come back. What you did and what you're doing is monumental. It's something that people should really pay close attention to. You're a lady coming to a foreign country, willing to invest in real estate and build, learn a new system, go through all of that. And so with that, you would expect that there would be some sort of level of protections from a governmental standpoint, especially if the invitation is going out. Come back, come back. Come. We want to be prepared for you to come back and invest. We understand it's business. It's business. It is what it is. We're not naive. Some people are caught up in the emotion of it all, but we understand.
We know the truth.
We know it's business, and that's fine. There's no problem. We got $1.6 to $1.7 trillion of investing power. We don't have a problem investing. But then when we come back and then we deal with things like this, and it's not that the deal is, okay, what does the government do to deal with these types of businesses that are, trying to exploit you because you're a lady, or these types, or they might try to exploit you just because you're foreign and you might not understand the system. So what the government should do, like you said, there's a hole in here somewhere, and what the Ghanaian government can do to say shut down a place like Cas Estates, or to have some sort of, obviously the case, they would need more evidence in order to do it, but maybe to go look into their dealings a little bit more. Maybe there's some, maybe there's some sort of complaints that have been filed that have been overlooked. But what I would hope is that there would be a strong eye on Cas Estates, and then for those who are part of the African diaspora who are coming over, to just flat out avoid them. I mean, this is a warning to say, hey, listen, this particular company, it may be a place that you might not want to you might not want to deal with them because you've talked about them before.
Oh yes, there's a whole playlist dedicated to them, and the fact that what was I going to say? It was not only did I create a playlist on purpose. So when people click it, like I'm all about leaving trails, leaving evidence, leaving stories. And that's why I have that playlist. So if someone goes to my page and says, oh, Cas Estates, they can see the whole journey. And then they can make informed decisions. Because if we're coming as diaspora and we're bringing our money to invest, and this is how we're being treated, that causes a problem. And Jay, my heart from the beginning is getting us over here, not necessarily to repatriate, but to invest, because if we don't, non-African groups are coming here in masses. Yeah. And if we don't come, it's going to be when we do realize that we should have went to Africa, we're going to become renters on land that we should have already had our hands on and had our feet on, if you know what I mean. So now I feel like it's about awareness at this point, getting the word out there, because let's say the system never comes through for us. What can we do in our power? And since I am the first in my family, now my family knows, like, okay, well, if we're going to invest in Ghana, we got to go about this order. We're going to get a man to lead the way.
A strong man to lead the way. A strong
man.
A strong one. Right.
And I know some people don't like to hear that. But after being physically assaulted, I accept that, because I'm not going to get my face bashed in over some land and commodities, because I know my value, and I'm way more valuable than land. I'm way more valuable than oil. I'm way more valuable than diamonds, so forth and so on. So if that's how they want to do it at this point, okay, until they step up their legislation.
I have to wonder if they would have done that to a European or an Asian. I have to wonder if the
I
gentleman
mean,
at Casa States, or if he would have realized that he would have been slapped, or would he have even tried
mhm,
that with a man? He probably would not, strong man, because clearly,
yeah,
whenever a man demonstrates that level of perceived authority over someone that they see as weaker, it really demonstrates their level of weakness, and
mhm.
so that's something that I observe. But I have to wonder if he would have come out and done what again, watch the video and see, because Leslie walked through all of the different things that occurred. I grabbed her face, and so all
Mhm.
of that. You walk through in detail. I wonder if he would have done that with a
And
European or an
it's
Asian or an Indian or someone else. I mean, even Indian, Asian,
mhm.
same thing. But go
And
ahead.
what's interesting is, all the times I've been to the office, they've all been African. We've all been Black. I've never seen anyone non-African walk in there.
Hmm.
And one thing I think COS caters to a type of demographic
Okay.
because their land is so affordable, it's so cheap. They sell raw land. There's no water, there's no electricity. So that's as cheap as land can come.
Yeah.
And most people don't have finances and or don't have a lot of money. So where are you gonna go when you don't have a lot of money? And usually when you don't have a lot of money, you don't have a lot of power, you know? And if you
Yeah.
don't have a lot of power, people will mistreat you. So I think they cater to a certain demographic and they have done this more than once. And one of the ladies that have DM'd me, she's actually shared some information with me regarding costs, and I'm just like, oh, this is something they do on a regular. Like, so, I mean, they know what they're doing, and I think they're catering to a certain demographic, and they know these people don't have a lot of money, don't have a lot of push or
Hmm.
grit to fight. And I just happened to be one that
They bumped into the wrong
they
one.
yeah, they went into the wrong one, and I'm just like,
Hey,
because
Kosh, y'all bumped
I'm
into the wrong one.
wrong, folks. I'm not rich by any means. I am a minimalist. The affordable land did attract me, but there's nothing weak about me. So they just bumped into the wrong one this time.
Yeah, you bumped into the wrong ones, because there are other people who are seeing this and extending their platform to you to be able to
Mm,
share. And I firmly
yes.
believe that
Oh.
more and more and more people are going to come out and recognize this as a problem, and shut
Hmm.
down these low level operations. Who's the owner
Yes.
of COS? What's the owner's name?
Oh, that's a good question. I have Kwame something. I'm not
Oh, okay.
sure.
Kwame, okay. And I also want to be very, very clear. This is not a representation of all of Ghana or the Ghanaian
Hmm.
people. It's just like if you come to America and you deal with certain hood people. This is basically the equivalent of a hood operation. And I mean, I
Mm,
just got to put it in a perspective that we understand it. Y'all know how y'all deal
right.
with the little hood person that's running the numbers or whatever.
Right.
This is the equivalent of that. And so but that doesn't represent all of Black America. That doesn't represent all of America, just like this doesn't
Right.
represent all of Ghana. And the support that
Hmm.
you've received has been largely from Ghanaians who are tired
Yes.
of the foolishness and the embarrassment of it all, because there are people working hard, just like us, working hard to shine a positive light on all of what Ghana has to offer, and then you get knuckleheads like this coming along,
Right.
who make it difficult. And we get the same thing in America. People trying to move forward.
Hmm.
Black Americans trying to move forward, and some Negro want to come forward and they got to act like a
All right.
Negro. Got to
And mess it all up.
got to. So
Mess
we
it all up.
so we get it. And so that I'm trying to compare apples to
Perspective.
apples
Yeah.
so everybody's able to understand. Now, does this? Here's a question for you. With this, how do you feel? Because I have a statement, but I have a question. So I have a
Hmm.
question first, and then I have a statement. Um, how does this affect you doing business in Ghana moving forward? Because a lot of us, the minute something like this happens, we're like, oh, I'm
Hmm.
done. I'm never doing business again. But the
Hmm.
Chinese come in, they'll deal with it and they'll just keep going, or the European will
Yeah.
come in. How has this affected you as far as doing business in Ghana moving forward?
It has made me more strategic. So, my channel was started with me being very hands-on and recording everything, every
Mm-hmm.
step of my land purchasing, of building. But after the event happened, I'm still going to invest. right? But it won't be my face on everything because my face is valuable to me and my face was threatened. So I'm pulling that back. And I will have more men doing the hands-on things. So that's not going to stop. It's not going to stop me, period. There'll still be a building process. The beachfront boutique resort is still happening, but it just won't be my face as much as it was. Yeah.
But you did something really special. And that's where the statement now comes in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you did something and have been doing something really special. And that's why I want everybody to go over to your channel and really just watch all of the videos and watch the journey. You came to Ghana as a single Black American woman, really kind of new to the country. I remember our first video about a year or so ago, and just kind of coming in and
Mm-hmm.
doing it. And you've been doing it. You know, it's not like
Mm-hmm.
you've been going through the process, you've been going through the ups and downs. And the average person that I know, one
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't even want to come over and start doing this. They
Right.
wouldn't dare do it, but you did
Yeah.
it. And you have gotten to a point where you have a level of success. And I watch your tenacity. I watch your mental toughness. I watch your strategic ways of going about doing things. And I said, wow, I said,
Mm-hmm.
Leslie's a pioneer. I said, there's something different about Leslie. You know, Leslie's doing something that most people, you know, in their mind, they think and wish they could do, but you're
Mm-hmm.
actually doing it. You're putting up a wall, you're buying the land, you're going through the drama, you're getting the experience tuition in, you're doing everything
Right.
that successful people do, you know, that in the end,
Mm-hmm.
those are the ones who make the millions of dollars. Those are the ones who have the stories to tell. Those are the ones who overcome, you know. And so it sounds like
Mm-hmm.
from this, it's like, wow, the way that it's like this detour in the conversation
Mm-hmm.
now opens the door for you to speak for other people who
Mm.
didn't have the voice, but then they said, we can look to Leslie because, you know, she didn't back down. She became more strategic, and
Mm-hmm.
now she's able to leverage her voice in a way that speaks for all of us. And that's why I said,
Mm.
when I would always make the joke, I said, well, you know, when your channel blows up,
Yeah.
because I see it, because there are other people who wish that they could do what you do. There are other people who, even in hearing this, they're like, wow, you know, she's still investing. She's just changing
Right.
strategy, and she's becoming even more vocal. With
Mm-hmm.
that, do you feel a greater sense of responsibility now that this has occurred to continue pressing forward, or
Mm-hmm.
what do you feel now that all of this is happening?
Literally, as you were speaking, like I was having visions, Jay.
Well, go ahead and have them visions. Go ahead.
So, so as you were speaking, I'm like, oh, this has just opened up a different type of chapter
Mm.
because it went from hands-on Leslie showing people how to get land without an agent,
Yeah.
how to get an indenture without an agent, you know, and how to build a wall without knowing no one, you know, and creating networking groups to establish, you know, the indentures, the walls, you know, construction for a house. And I'm like, oh, it's done now. That part is done. And so now it's opening up to, okay, you're gonna be a voice. If someone needs help in land or construction, they literally can just go to your page. They can go to your website. They can click this and everything's already there. So I know now I don't even need to focus on that anymore. And I've already fulfilled my side of the contracts regarding the two lands. The walls are
Mm.
built. So, you know, the cost land, you know, you have to build something within 2 years or you're basically gambling your land away. And then the beachfront property, you have to build something in 4 years. Well, both of them the walls are built. So I don't even have to worry until I get my deed. So
Yeah.
now I'm like, oh, okay, this is the lane I'm supposed to be in right now. Now I was assaulted. Now we can just tweak it a little bit and become a voice for the voiceless. So thank you, Jay. That
Right. I'm
just
just
hit me
sitting
right
here.
now.
I'm sitting here observing this whole process, and again, I admire the process. That's the deal, and I guess when I think about this, and maybe some of our Ghanaian viewers can offer some assistance. I mean, maybe you've been through something like this. Maybe you have some solutions. Maybe you know who to call, who to talk to. I hope that you all would call, email, whatever you need to do to Kasi States and let them know how you feel. That's one thing. And I would, yeah,
speak up. But
speak
people are
up.
through my email, they're saying stuff happens like this all the time, but no one's saying nothing. And one of the ladies was like, "I'm glad someone's finally saying something." I'm like, it's 2022, and we're just, I don't know, I can't be the first person, but I guess I am.
Well, yeah, I mean, because you have to understand that when you go back and you look at the history of colonization in West Africa, you're going back to 1957, which really wasn't that long ago. And what the impact of colonization did on so many different levels from the psychological aspect is really what many Black Americans, well, shoot, still deal with. It's not a, I'm realizing how many of us are still.
Yeah, we're still in the
so I'm realizing it just based upon some of the comments that come in on different videos. But what ends up happening is that if a culture has been manipulated and controlled by a particular entity, meaning a colonial entity, in particular Ghana would be the British, and French-speaking countries, it would be the French. They've controlled the education, they've controlled the culture, they've controlled much of the religion, they've controlled a lot of different things. And so when you have that in place, many of those institutions have been designed to make people docile. And what they've also done is taken people who look like people in those systems and basically paid them to abuse the people. So when you have people who have been culturally abused and they have been conditioned to say, you know what, this is just the way that it is, it breeds a level of hopelessness. And so if those who do speak up, now they're caned or something like that, they're beaten, or, they're affected some kind of way financially. But see, the difference when it comes to the African diaspora is that we don't have to go certain places. We don't have to take our money certain places. But when you have a country like Ghana who's trying to have an emphasis on tourism, they're going to have to clean this up. There's no way. There are 54 other countries that someone can go to and take their money. And we're not even talking about bringing the culture and the different ways and tendencies from the West that a lot of Ghanaian culture might not agree with. We're not even talking about that. We're just talking about bringing the resources and the money so people can have the money to be able to survive and do the different things that need to be done. And so many Black Americans would be more than willing to come to Ghana, as we see. And we love Ghana, but it's just a matter of if the government is not going to come in and address this, or if the people are not going to address it and say, because the one thing we know about, there are different courts. There's the government court, there's the court of public opinion, and then there's street justice. And so the street justice.
That one I didn't know about. In Western mentality, mine is go to court, right?
But we got street justice. We got street justice in America too. We got street justice.
I'm not from the hood. Okay, I was born in Orange County. Okay, we don't do that.
That's Orange County. But street justice. You ever seen them in Ghana? Some of the street justice in Ghana. I saw one dude one night. We ride down the street, and he's sitting in the street, and the tire was over him, and the people were like beating him and yelling at him. I said, well, dang. I said, what did he do? Well, apparently he stole from someone. And so apparently he stole from someone, and they caught him, and in them catching him, that's street justice, so it happened.
So I have heard a story too. One of the sponsors of Airbnb that I stayed at, he was a Ghanaian, but he lives in the States, and he told me that someone stole something and they jumped him and beat him up. One of the elders came out and said, no, don't beat him. He went down, grabbed the boy, cut his ear, and walked away. Like, that's the type of street justice. And I was like, that's how they get down?
That's how they get down. That's how they get down. Hey. So there are all types of street justices out here. But it's like jailhouse justice in America. If you mess with a child molester or something like that, and they find out in jail that that's what you're in there for, you can best believe
you're done.
You're going to deal with some sort of penetrative injury. So
penetrative.
No, I say that
injury.
I said that the most.
Penetrative.
Yeah,
you tried.
Yeah, I tried. But that's the reality is though, Leslie. I hope that what this does is that once you finish your boutique on the beach, you'll be able to look back at this and tell this story to other girls and women to say, hey, listen, you know what? Here's how you can do this successfully, because there's so many opportunities in Ghana and for Ghanaians and Americans to be able to come together and form legitimate businesses where everyone is able to benefit. And so you have people like this who come along and try to, it's been ingrained in him. It's part of the culture to behave like this. What is your, I guess, what's the next step now? You've made the adjustment. The land is there. What's going to be the next move?
I'm waiting for my deed.
Okay.
So once I get the deed to the beachfront property, then I can start pitching to investors. And once I get my capital, that's when I'll be moving to Ghana and building. So until then, I don't need to go to Ghana, to be honest. I don't really need to go back. But until I get my deed, I don't see myself going back to Ghana at this moment. Yeah, once I get it, once I get the deed, yeah, simple.
Well, what I'm hoping is that government officials who have actual power will see this and will see your video, and they will go and they'll watch. Again, the link is in the description. They'll watch the video. They'll watch exactly what happened. And they will begin to put some sort of legislative measures in place for this type of behavior. And then the other thing that I would hope is that I had a situation where I was assaulted on the Africa World Airlines plane.
I remember that. Yeah.
I have that on video. I have it on video. I'm going to release that video. I'm going to drop that video, and I'm going to show you exactly what happened on Africa World Airlines. And the gentleman, I guess he felt as though he could do that. I think he realized after he did it, the only reason why he didn't put down right there on the spot is because I was in my seatbelt. But with that though, I'm hoping that more and more people will start utilizing their cameras and their phones and capturing this behavior. And I know that in some societies, they don't like you to use your phones. You just got to be strategic with it. One thing I do is I have a screen protector, meaning privacy screen. So like right there, you can't see, but I can see my phone.
Right.
It's like I can see everything right here clearly. Get a screen protector, and then if you're going to be, you can record very discreetly like this. You don't have to go and turn it like this and I got you. Sometimes you do like this, something jump off, hit it, and you just kind of hold it just right here. Sometimes you angle it a particular way, but the privacy screen makes it where they can't see. And so if they can't see, like right there, you can see a little bit, but they can't necessarily see everything that you're doing, especially from an angle. And sometimes you can capture something, or sometimes you have to do it where you just get the audio. Sometimes the audio is all you need in order to show that there's something there. But I'm hoping that people start utilizing their phones more and capturing it. We're in this age where phones are everywhere, capturing this information so that people can at least say when a criminal offense has occurred. And I'm not saying do this in private conversations or with people that try to sabotage and blackmail people. I'm not saying that. I'm saying as far as these types of scenarios where you may feel that you might be going into a situation to kind of have the camera rolling. I had a situation recently.
Oh.
Yeah. I've been trained too. I've been trained. This whole thing where I believe someone was trying to scam me. And I had to play hardball with them, but they didn't know that the camera was rolling.
See?
They didn't know I was mic'd up. They didn't know they were mic'd up. They didn't know they were mic'd up.
What?
They didn't know they were
Oh
mic'd up.
my.
Oh,
Okay, you're an investigator. You need to join
oh,
the FBI or something.
they didn't know they were mic'd up. And how you mic somebody up and they don't know that they're mic'd up? I had the camera. I had my camera guy doing his thing. I'm sitting there mic'd up, and they just running their mouths. And I said, Now I ended up not having to use the footage, but I think they realized that I think they figured out something was going on, because I think one of the people in the establishment tipped them off that somebody was kind of recording and what was going on. But by that time I had everything I needed. Everything worked out. So I won't necessarily have to air that footage.
Right.
But I have it,
out.
Oh, do you want to let me say it would go so viral. That right there, if I had to put that out in the streets, it would be people wouldn't even believe it, because it felt like a three-way scam going. And but they forced the Black American and me to come out. They forced the Black American the hood, the skills. I said, oh, y'all making me tap into some stuff I hadn't, and they pulled out some of that inner Nigerian I talked about. They pulled it out. And so by the time at the end of it, I did hit them to the fact that, hey, you know what? You might have missed something in your sequence. And when I told them that, they were like, oh, I said, hey. So anyway, I'm hoping.
No shame.
No shame. When you go to the places, especially when you go to any foreign country, it's not just Ghana. Shoot, this is America too. When anytime you go somewhere and people don't feel as though you are a part of their culture, there's a level of exploitation or attempted exploitation that you could expect. You can expect someone to try to charge you more. One of the reasons why I avoided Sierra Leone as far as real estate is concerned, because dude was trying to sell me some little piece of land for more than what I would pay in America. And I'm saying, what? It was insulting.
See, that's what I'm talking about. If you're going to be disrespectful and extort and not even properly plan, that's what you're going to at least be an intelligent, fraudulent person.
It's one of the reasons, and I know this doesn't reflect on all of Sierra Leone, but I understood the mentality at that point. I said, well, why would I come here and give you $70,000 for this little piece of nothing? And then I can go to Ghana and I can go buy half. I can go get beachfront property. I can go get beachfront property with electricity and land, water and everything. Right. And you don't sell me some raw land for sale. I said, what do I say? So you didn't do your homework on your target demographic. It might have been worth 10 grand. It might have been worth it, but these are the things that you have to understand, as far as doing international investing. And then with that, then you got to be prepared to go through some of the drama. Now, I don't know. Now, if dude would have put his hand on my face, now granted, you a lady, I know you're a person, so it's, but if he'd have put that joker, let him put his hand on my face.
On your face.
Come at me. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. Come touch me. Come touch this 220 some odd pound 6'2" Negro. Come on with it, Jack.
That part.
Come touch this.
He wouldn't. I'm taller than him. He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't even.
Oh no, he wouldn't do it.
Boss. Hey, boss.
No, he would have been it slapped right there on the ground. Oh, what? Like, dude, what are you thinking?
Backhand.
Yeah, backhand, pimp slap. But like, dude, body slam, power driver, suplex, and a figure four.
WWE, WWC.
I had to put the Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair on them. But that's what they do. They're gonna pick on ladies. They're gonna pick on a man. That's what I'm saying. Come pick on a man. If you're gonna do, but they won't. And that's the one thing. And so as men, as my Ghanaian brothers, as you see our sisters, our ladies out here, please stand up for them. And we know the culture. We know the culture is the same way in America too with guys. If they can get away with it, then they will. There's certain legislations in place that, are not going to allow for this. There's some level of accountability. But again, a lot of men have come to your And that's what I'm excited about. A lot of Ghanaian men have said, "Oh no, we're not going to talk."
Yes, Jay, the
Mm-hmm.
amount of support I've gotten in 24 hours on this video. I mean, I am so touched and shocked about the amount of men that came through for me, the amount of women, but specifically the Ghanaians. They said they came so strong. They're like, you need to know within these 24 hours that we don't play that. And they have shown their support. For example, Watamaya, he contacted me directly and we had a conversation, and he reposted my video on his page. And so he's the highest influencer in Africa,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
he for him to do that and step out of his way, that gave me so much assurance. And then to see the comments of so many Ghanaian men, I was just like, okay, Leslie, you can still walk the streets, because it is traumatic, and
Yeah.
it has a psychological impact. And that just gives me more faith. It just added my faith back into the Ghanaian people. And then I can't say names, but a huge on the political side, someone reached out to me, and this might change the whole game. To where legislation is going to be is affected. So I'll learn more. My first meeting is on Monday. So as I get updated and I'm allowed to speak on it, I'll share it as well. But now we're talking about legislation on a global level. And I didn't expect this. I didn't expect this at all. But unity through community, people care. And at the end of the day, we might have little knuckleheads that mess things up. But overall, the love from the Ghanaian people has just overwhelmed me to where I'm comfortable. And that voice in my head saying I'm not safe walking down the street is becoming smaller. And that's what they showed me yesterday. I'm very grateful for that.
The wonderful thing about Ghana and the Ghanaian people, it's with any culture, you have one side you always have to get like I said, the knuckleheads, like this guy over, that you talked about in your video. But the beautiful part is that when Bodemaya reached out to you, and then many others have reached out to you, to say, now I think on another part of it is that for a lot of people, they're embarrassed because that's not what they represent. It's like it's kind of like how it is in America. Like somebody, how it is.
You don't embarrass the family. You don't embarrass the family name.
Right. Like, but you know how it is in America. Like if we all trying to get things right. We're trying to get we're changing our own narratives in Black America about the narratives that are put out there. And then somebody got to come along and do that.
And shoot up we don't shoot up stores. We don't shoot up stores and say, don't do it.
So like somebody,
that's our thing.
Right. It's like somebody got to come along and you're just like, why? And so that's what a lot of people are feeling about this in Ghana. They're like, why is this dude, why did he do it? But just know this. And if you hear what Leslie's saying, and you said it so eloquently about appreciating the support and appreciating how people have come and rallied behind your story. And again, I hope that it goes to the highest levels. I hope that you get to the highest levels of people who can do something.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And the last thing, a country that's trying to, and this is any country in the world, whether it's America, Ghana, UK, or whatever, the last thing they want to do is have bad press about an area they're trying to attract people in. So this is an area that they definitely want to get cleaned up. If you want people to come and spend their money in the country, you can't have this going on without some sort of strong response and deterrent. Although your case might not be strong from a legal perspective, but that court of public opinion is real. And if people just keep their money away, I mean, then it's kind of like, well, hey, but if the right thing is done, then people say, you know what, I feel comfortable and I'll go invest and I'll bring franchises and real estate or all the different, whatever, the tourism, all the different things that come along with the territory. So, so is there anything that you want to, I guess, leave everyone with as far as your story, the next steps, or words of encouragement, anything in that regard?
Ooh. Even though
Ooh,
that's a simple, even though that's a simple
ooh,
question, I'm just like, now I got to tap into my mind.
yeah.
Um,
But we got some heavy hitting
um,
videos coming up that we haven't even aired
we
yet.
do,
So
we
it's like,
do. I think the number one thing is getting the word out. So please go to my page. I am Leslie Jones. Watch that video, share it, because my number one concern now is helping others and preventing this happening to other people. And the best way to do that is to share the video. So when us YouTubers, when we say like, share, subscribe, that's what we mean. So the algorithm can help, will be on our side to get our word out. And some of us have fun, great videos, but this video is so serious. So please share, especially with those that want to repatriate or invest in Ghana. They need to know about this company, and they need to know how to protect themselves. Because if you're a single woman and you're hands-on like me, we have to be strategic. And you might want to get certain people in place for certain responsibilities to get your transactions done quicker and to make sure you're safe. So share and be strategic when you're dealing with these men in this country, in Ghana, so you won't get hurt.
would you discourage people from investing in Ghana in real estate? Is that a discouragement, or how should someone read what you're saying?
It is not a discouragement. It's about strategy. Because at the end of the day, I went to Ghana for a reason, because I know about the opportunity there. And the opportunity is going to last generations. So I'm not going to let this situation or this scenario that happened within 5 minutes ruin my 50, 75-year plan. You see what I mean? So be strategic for 5 minutes so you can have your 75 years. Is that clear?
Yeah, no, I got it. I got it. And again, the reason why I asked that is because I know some people, when they hear, people gravitate towards negative news. And they gravitate towards it, and they say, "See, I told you, damn, I told you they ain't like us. I told you, I told you." So it just kind of fuels that simple side of things that we deal with, because it's a balancing act. Because when you're trying to change narratives at the same time, you have to tell a real story of it. But then you got this, I call it the peanut gallery over there. See, I told you, but they can't see little Rollo right there in the neighborhood doing the same thing. They can't see Rollo doing it too, but it's somehow they can see Kwame doing it. So it's crazy.
Because that's why vision is so important. Because if I did not have vision, this would have took me out. But my vision is generational. So something that happened in 5 minutes is not going to take away my generational vision. That's like if you're learning to walk and you fall, you're like, well, I'm not walking ever again. Like, that don't make no sense.
Yeah, a lot of people think like that, though. A lot of people still on that ground crawling with dirty diapers on. They still ain't gonna put out body train yet.
Don't know how to wipe themselves.
No, not yet. Not yet. They're still
skid marks. All
yeah, you
talk
about some people still cleaning the one. They got married and everything. Mommy ain't tell you how to clean your. You gotta start. You gotta start.
How did we get there?
It just because they got no sense.
Oh. but yeah, and one thing I've learned, especially from a spiritual standpoint, there's always like trials and tribulations and milestones before you get to your breakthrough.
There you go.
Like that. It's a universal. That's just the way it is.
That's just the way it is.
You know what? Before I left for Ghana, exclusive. Before I left for Ghana, I went on a date with this Jamaican. And I was telling him about, I was telling him about like what I was going through with costs and everything. And he said, Leslie, understand that you're going to a third world country. And how they see women is different. And me, I'm like, rah, 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 but he was like, but this is what it is. And so he started talking to me, and I had this feeling like, oh shoot, something's about to happen to me. And then look what happened. But then in my spirit, it was just like, I was kind of warned already, but it wasn't to the point to where I felt like, okay, don't go to Ghana, Leslie. It was just like, ooh, get ready. And I didn't know it was going to be in this form, but now that I'm like reenacting and bringing everything back, I was spiritually, I was already warned.
Yeah. And this is from the
That's
guy
what
from
it is.
Jamaica. So that he because I imagine Jamaican culture probably has some similarities
Yes.
to Ghanaian culture. That's from what I'm told. And I've been to Jamaica and I've been to Ghana, but I've not immersed myself in Jamaican culture like I have Ghanaian culture. But it's yeah, that's very interesting that you were told that, and then this scenario happened. I don't think you're going to have any more. Yeah, I don't think you're going to have any more problems though. So
no, I'm gonna be strategic.
Yes, be strategic and get your street team ready.
Yeah, which I've told I already have.
Yeah, see, you got to tap into your resources.
So it's a new day, folks.
That's right.
It's a new day, because
that's right.
We can't talk like this, but in Ghana, I'm a whole listen. I'm a whole different person. This side of me I've never seen, but it can be released when I'm in Ghana. So I'm ready to release it.
You got the inner hood that you just, I didn't grow up in the hood, but it's there. It's there. Just pull it out.
There. So now I know about street court. So now I'm ready for the street court. Hopefully it's not next time, but next time I am going to no Logon police station. You hear me?
Yeah,
I'm going to my street court.
You have a conversation with some people that say, "Hey, let's have a conversation."
Yes, let's have a conversation.
And, hey, it's real. It's real. You got to play to win.
Real.
Yeah, and that's why I said you got to play to win. You got to learn. I mean, people think that they don't understand that everything has a street court. Even in America, there's a street court. Them good old boys got a street court. Them hood boys got a street court. Them church boys got a street court.
That part.
How about the church boys got a street court? Everybody got a street court. And that's the thing that people really respect you based on your street court too. It's like, because they know sometimes that the other court isn't going to do anything for you. So they're like, well, they'll think twice. I don't know. Well, the street court is what we got to worry about. We can get away with this over here, but the street court is going to be the thing that's going to cause the problems.
And I'm just like, what's going to happen with this video? Because you told me there's a lot of male supporters of me on your
they love you. They love you.
And they're Ghanaian. A lot of them are Ghanaian.
Yes.
My street court just multiplied. It's multiplying by the day.
Yeah.
Thank you, street court. I appreciate you. I'm already thanking you ahead of time. Period.
The street court. Well, Leslie, I thank you for sharing your story, and I hope, and I know you're going to be fine. I know you're going to be fine, because the level of the resilience that you have, and the ability for you to bounce back, and the ability for you to overcome. We were talking offline, and this is what God has given you to do. This is who you are. This is bigger than the land. This is bigger than CAS. CAS is just a tool in all of this, a foolish tool in all of it. Got to say, got to drop it in there. So CAS is just a part of this whole deal, and you will rise above it, and will inspire other people to. You'll inspire other people to rise above whatever they're facing. And that's the deal. So I can't wait to see the boutique built and completed, and whatever else you decide to put on the land, to fill it with cows on, all of the above, or if you decide to sell it, or whatever you decide to do.
I'm still waiting on the indentures. I paid outright March of 2021. I have 6 plots. I only have indentures for 4. Ooh, man.
And that's with CAS, right?
That's CAS.
Good old CAS.
I mean, to the point to where I don't have to say nothing. I just say the story and it explains itself.
CAS.
So, hey, but Jay Cameron, thank you so much for your encouraging words, your support. on screen, off screen. It's really has been a tremendous help. And thank you for your platform and opening up for so many of us to take our first steps, really, in Ghana. You've helped a lot of people take their first steps.
Well, again, it's because of people like you and others who are willing to explore and see the world differently. And that's what this is really all about. If the Chinese can come, if I don't know why my picture just keep getting blurry, I don't know, it's distracting me. I'm like it's getting blurry. It's like every time
I can still see you're getting lighter and lighter.
Yeah, I'm like sitting there like, do I need to come back here or something, you know? But if the Chinese can come, if the Europeans can come, they can come build skyscrapers, those cranes and everything you see going up. I feel for the African diaspora, how we're missing out. You're doing something that we have to deal with. We get it from all sides in America. You know, we get it from white racism, but then we get it from the Black foolishness that comes in within our own community. So we know how to deal with dumbness, you know, from different angles. But I see the cranes going up. I see the businesses opening. I see the restaurants opening, and they're not owned by us by and large. You know, that's why Judah Jerk Soul is so important in Accra, because his brother, he moved over from St. Louis and he's opening his business. So it behooves us to go support what he's doing. When you're doing what you're doing with your boutique hotel, to bring people to your hotel, because we're still excluded from so many levels of investment on an international scale. We're waking up in America, we have strength in America, but on an international level, we're missing out on opportunities. And what you're doing is bridging that gap. That's why I say what you're doing is so much larger. You're going to have to deal with this foolishness. This has to come with the territory. Just like you said, with the spiritual principles, you're going to have to deal with this. There's no way around. Meaning you don't have to get hit in the face or anything again. That's right. Deal with the obstacles of it and adjusting your strategy and understanding how the game is played, so you can coach the next person coming along. That is the next generation. See, sometimes generation comes by way of the knowledge that we leave behind. And say, this is the system, this is how you deal with it, and this is how you avoid it. And so by you going through that, it now prepares the next Ghanaian to have to deal with it, the next Black American, the next Black British, the Black Canadian, or whoever that comes in, and they're now not afraid to do it because you've already paved the way. You can give the blueprint to them. That's why I say this is so much larger than any of what we realize right now. So anyway, everybody, make sure that you go check out Leslie's video where you can see her talk about everything, the description. The link is in the description below. Be sure to subscribe to her channel. She's on a roll because people are starting to recognize what she has to offer and all of the different things that she's been doing, and they are in full support. And again, I hope that this gets to the highest levels of government, but also to the highest levels of the street, the highest levels of just the culture, where people can say, hey, listen, you know what, we're going to change. If the government isn't going to do it, we're going to change this within our own society, and we're going to protect our women from this type of treatment. So, all right, Leslie, well, thank you again. So hey, y'all be on the lookout, because we got 2 huge videos, interviews that's gonna drop. 2 huge ones. Boom, boom, boom. It has nothing to do with real estate. It's like human stuff. Human. All right, y'all know what to do. Subscribe, like, share to both channels. Until next time, take care, be safe.
Bye.
We are, should I say, spoiled over there, and we come and see how all the resources are over here, and it's very important for us to come over here so we can see where the resources are. It's just the peace, the serenity, the gratitude of the people, you all as family, I get to take back. You know, I didn't have you when I first came over here, but I do consider you all as family. And I don't know, it's just the beginning of something. I can't tell you because I'm still seeking for myself, so it's kind of hard. I just want to say thank you to Jay, because if it wasn't for me finding him on YouTube and making me feel safe to travel alone over here, it wouldn't have never happened. So I just want to thank him and, you know, Maximum Impact Travels for this opportunity.
I don't know if I should say this on camera, but we've been deceived a lot about Africa. And the utmost respect for the people here, they've been kind. I mean, ever since I put my foot on Africa, the people just been soft, kind, consistent in their kindness.
Harry was not excited. I'm like, the day before, I'm like, you excited to go on a trip? He's like, no.
Never been to Africa, never had an interest too much in Africa, you know, just busy doing what I do in America. And so, you know, it was not something that I, just really wanted to do.
Funny to watch him go from being totally wound up and uptight, not wanting to be here. First day on the Serengeti, he's like not looking at the animals. By the second day, he's jumping up, looking out the window, you know, taking pictures. So it was a process.
And I would tell everybody how people are over here. They need to see it. I mean, it's amazing. It touches my heart.